back at it. I decided I was just going to go ahead and start getting this rascal out, and it had a cam in it. This guy right here. Looking at them, and some of the lobes have some unusual wear patterns. I don't know if you can see how that's off at an angle or what have you. So what I'm going to do is and I've gone through and I've made a list of what each of them are as you go down from front to back. And basically it's like 1 exhaust, 2 exhaust, 1 intake, 2 intake, then the bearing, 3 intake, anyway, and so on down there. And I started measuring these, and these are the results I'm getting. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that all into a spreadsheet over here, an Excel spreadsheet, and run some averages and see which one averages out the best. And if any of them have a flat lobe, then obviously we'll, probably get away from using that one in lieu of the other one. They both look like they probably have similar amounts of wear on them. So we'll get a gander and tabulate this all up and get to you on the other side. Tabulate these guys up in some Excel, an Excel spreadsheet. Take a look at some numbers. I'm not sure if I can look at a standard deviation on these numbers and put the question out there to some friends as to whether if they vary, if it's a bigger issue than if they are just worn down. I would think that if there's a consistent length to all of these lobes, then we would probably have a better cam. I don't know. That's the question. Is it better to have bigger lobes? We're talking cams here. Or is it better to have consistency? Well, let's just I'm going to just put in the cam numbers, not the bearing numbers. .529. All right, let's go look online and see if we can find some standard deviation functions in Excel. Okay, it looks like they've got a function in there of equals STDEV period S and then the range. So let's give that a try and see if this works. All right, what is that number? 0.007. So it tells me that we're varying anywhere from about 7 1/4 thousandths on any of the lobes. So let's paste this over here. All right, a little higher deviation on the old cam. So it says, if I'm reading this right, I got a standard deviation that's a little bit less on the engine cam, but yet a little bit higher on the old cam. All right. I think it's time to ask some questions of friends and see what they know. Okay, I'm still waiting for a response on my question, and that question went over to a friend of mine of, I'm overanalyzing this engine project. I have an old cam that was laying around here with around the shop that averages 7 thousandths of an inch higher lobes, but has 0.001 higher standard deviations. Which one would you use? So we'll see if he responds while I'm putting this together, but I'm kind of making my decision, I think, on my own now. I looked into the Chilton's manual for, and I don't know if I can show you this well enough or not, but I looked at a 283 here, and the lift that they show for both the intake valve and the exhaust valve is 0.3987. So I kind of reverse engineered, pulled that out, wondering how much have these cam lobes worn. Unfortunately, they give me a valve lift or displacement or movement, and on the rocker, what you'll notice here is that thing is off center. That stem comes up roughly, let's look at it this way. From what I calculated here, the center of that slot, if you will, where the rocker bolt is at 1 3/8 inches off the center of where the spring is on this rocker, and it goes to about off center. Let's see, it's about 1 3/8. Well, what it eventually comes down to is I had 10/8 versus 7/8. 10/8 being the distance here. Sorry to throw the camera around on you folks. I got 10/8 of an inch from the center here out to here. 10/8 being, an inch and a quarter, if you will. And then I got 7/8 of an inch from this place to the center of where the push rod comes through. So that ratio of 10 to 7 would be how far the valve is going down on one side of the rocker versus the other, the lift off the cam. So I took a reading of the cam when the valve's fully closed at 1.284, and took an average, and this was that average that you'll see. It's not there. I took a 1.529, which was the old cam's lift that I had, subtracted the flat section of the cam, and I got 0.245 inches of lift. Now that lift, mathematically, all right, chairs, sorry for my camera work, I know it's terrible, folks. 0.245 times 10 divided by 7 gave me 3.35 lift. Well, that's less than that 0.3987 that they show in the Chilton's manual. So then I backed up, well, how do I reverse engineer? How much lift do I need? And it's right at about 30 thousandths more, 34 thousandths more than what I've got on these cams. So I know I'm overanalyzing this, but you know what? It's a fun project. I'm having fun with it. I'm trying to figure out, what makes these little small block Chevy engines so dadgum preferable. I don't know. I like them over the LS because I haven't learned how to wire the LS motor yet. If I do that one day, I could be dangerous. Who knows? But I doubt that my intellect is going to conquer that little electronic puzzle. I know Brent up there at Half-Ass Motors or Half-Ass Customs does it, and I've been watching him. I definitely would love to do that someday, but we'll see. I don't know, maybe down the road, but we got too many things to do in the interim here with these three routes that need a lot of love. So I'm thinking at this point, my decision is going to be, let's take the old cam that was just laying around the shop here. That is this guy here. And if you look and make a comparison, let's just look at this lobe right here. You can see those two are about the same as far as the wear pattern is concerned. The wear pattern being what you see is that's real shiny, if you will. But on others, you can see there's less wear, I think, on this old cam. And so therefore, I think the numbers bear out that the old cam has got more life left in it yet. See here, that looks like it's consistent across there, whereas this one just wore right on this side of the cam lobe. They're not far off. Both of them are fine candidates, in my estimation. We're just building a soft motor. This thing's not going to have much horsepower to it. If it has anything, we might approach maybe 80-90% of what the factory had as far as its capabilities. I won't have a means of testing that. I'm sorry, I'm just a local yokel. Might as well be using the tree out back for an engine lift, if you will. But we will take this cam that I think we had just laying around over here, and we'll see if that bears out with the friend that I've put the question to. And I think we're going to put that back in when we build this thing back up. Before we do that though, we'll have to take out all those pistons, and I decided we are, even though there's only 1.5 thousandths or so of a ridge on this thing, we'll go ahead and take that ridge reamer that I've got and go ahead and pull those out a little bit. And then we'll put those new rings in. They're scheduled to come in later this week, and then we'll build this thing all back up, paint it up, and I'm going to see. I don't know. I'm going to check with Dan and see if he would like to throw some gasoline and some 12-volt electricity off a battery maybe to this, and see if we can get this thing to run, which would be kind of cool. I think I need to look for a set of heads on this so the fire's not coming straight out the side. It's going to be loud enough as it is, and in fact, if I can get those headers to bolt onto, I've got some thrush mufflers over there that we might be able to bolt those onto and quiet this down so I don't upset the neighbors. But it'd be kind of cool to start this thing up at least a little bit before I, stick it over in the 57, maybe a couple of years down the line. And it's going to be that long before I get to that, because that guy is on the radar. We need to get old Mavis squared away and get her done. All right, I guess that's enough for now. I'll put this one out and edit it and put it out, and we'll have more to come. So lots of fun building a 283, which actually, if it's 40 thousandths over, I think it calculates out to, I calculated 289. So I got a 289 Chevy here with 40 thousandths over on a 283. So we'll continue with this build. Again, thanks everybody. I appreciate you watching. We'll catch up with you later. Jethro, see ya. Bye.